All right. Good afternoon. Is everyone doing okay? Had your tea, coffee? All right. So this is my first council meeting, so be kind. No? All right. So we have Boang from China online. All right. And then we have Sanjeev from India. We have two Basukes. We have Wakas from Pakistan. We have
Hello.
got Samuel from Hong Kong. And hello to the others. I have no idea who Junhao is. Hi, Junhao. Okay. So we've got most of the economies here today. Thank you so much for coming. We have reached our quorum to start the meeting. All right. So we have already done a quick roll call. Now, to start off the meeting, we will confirm the minutes of the 2022 annual general meeting, which we believe you would have already gone through when we sent out the email. For those who have not, we can always resend. And if there is any comments or any changes to it, we can still always amend it. So the first so before that, the first agenda for the day would be the AGM and the election of the directors. So we'll keep that as fast as we can. And before we go on to the council meeting, which will be predominantly discussions, right? Okay, so to confirm the minutes, can I get a resolution that the members adopt the minutes of the 2022 annual general meeting held virtually as a correct record of the meeting? I will need a mover and seconder. Mover. Okay, mover Lochan and seconder Roshan. Lochan and Roshan. Roshan. Okay. All right. Next on, we have, again, this was also sent out in the email announcement to the draft audited financial statement, including the reports of the directors and the independent auditor for the year ending 31st December 2022. So can I get a resolution? Is there any comments to this? No, because this we can't change. All right. So yeah.
Which of the 200 pages do you want? It's a big document.
Show or no show? Show?
Yeah, I still might say this, but
okay. You're just teasing me. Okay, so can I get a resolution that the members receive and approve the audited financial statement for the year ending 31st December 2022 of the APAN Limited? I need a mover and a seconder. Mover Shimozu-san. Farooq, seconder. Okay. Next on will be to approve the appointment of the auditor of APAN Limited for the year 2023 from January to December. The auditor is based in Hong Kong. So can I get a resolution that the members approve the APAN board's recommendation for the auditor of APAN Limited for 2023? Can I get a mover and a seconder?
it's one of the auditor, the one we had last year.
Okay, the auditor is the one we had last year. Gateway Resource Limited. Yeah. Same auditor. Yes, same auditor. So can I get a mover and a seconder? Why no one wants to move this? Farooq mover, Eric seconder. All right, now next on the most interesting part. So the election of the board of directors. So these are our outgoing directors. We had Eric, Suhaimi, Chalampol, Shimoza-san, Prof. Jilong, Ranjan. And the existing board of directors are Lochan from Nepal, Busyong from Korea. And the nominations to APAN board, we had Eric Yan renominated, Suhaimi renominated, Chalampur from Thailand renominated, Shimozo-san from Japan renominated. And we have the new ones, Rochan Ragel from Sri Lanka, Bowang from China, she's online. And we have Sanjeev Bansal from India, also online.
Thank you.
Okay. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Prof. Wang and Ranjan, who's not around, for their contributions as a board of director, and also Prof. Wang was the chair to APAN board. So thank you very much for your contributions. Okay, so we had one vacant position from 2022, plus the 6 vacancies we had for this term. So there were total 7 vacancies. And we have filled up, we have received 7 nominations. So the good news is there's no need for election. And we declare that all the 7 nominations will be elected into the board. So congratulations, everyone. Oh, yeah. Okay. So can we get a resolution to elect all the 7 nominations to APAN board? Can we get a mover and a second? Mover Prof. Wang, second Bu Seong. Okay. Right, yeah. So can we get the new board of directors to introduce themselves? Let's start with Bo Wang from China. Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Bo Wang from China, and it's my great honor to be a part of the APAN board. Currently, I am an assistant professor at Tsinghua University, and I also work for CERNET. My research focuses on computer network. Before that, I was a postdoc researcher working with Professor Jianping Wu. I received my PhD in computer science and technology from the Tsinghua University in 2019. I'm enthusiastic about making contributions to APAN. I attended APAN 55 in Nepal and actively participated in organizing CERNI APNIC IC project sessions. I'm eager to dedicate myself to APAN development and take more responsibilities. So I really appreciate this invaluable opportunity. Unfortunately, due to my scheduling conflicts, I could not make this trip to Sri Lanka. So please accept my sincere apologies. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person in the next APAN meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo Wang. Can we have Sanjeev from India?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. And this is Sanjeev Banjal. I am Director General for Education and Research Network India, stationed at New Delhi. And by profession, I am originally Indian Telecom Service Officer, presently working in ARNET India. And I have done my bachelor from in electronics engineering, then Master of Engineering in Electronics and Communication, and then I am MBA also from prestigious Management Development Institute near New Delhi. I have over 30 years of professional experience working with the Government of India, with the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and now I am working with the Ministry of Electronics and IT as Director General in NET India. I look forward to play an important role in the board of directors in APAN network. And I hope to see you all in the upcoming meetings. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Next, we have Rochan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roshan Ragal from Learn, and I'm with the APAN Council for the last 7 years, and happy to serve in the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we have concluded the AGM, and thank you. Next on, the council agenda. So for starters, we will review the APAN 55, the updates of APAN 56 is what we have received till today, and the calling for hosts for the next few APAN meetings. So review of APAN 55, which was in Kathmandu, Nepal in March, where over 5 days, we had a total of 486 participants, including 51 remote participants. These participants included the local organizing committee, the volunteers, and of course the participants. And these participants ranged from about 29 economists. We had about 79 sessions, including closed sessions, and they were spread out in 6 halls. We had about 25 plus supporting partners and 2 connectivity providers. And updates of APAN 56. These are numbers as of today. We have got registered numbers of 402, which equal virtual speakers, volunteers, and the local organizing committee. Number of economists, we have got about 26. Total speakers, online and physical, we've got 165. Total sessions, 83. There were 8 workshops. We have got about 9 sponsors and 1 task force. And following suit, we have APAN 57, which is happening from January 29th till February 2nd, which will take place in Bangkok. 24, yes, sorry about that, 2024. Okay, so these are the future local organizing committees and calling for hosts as well. So APAN 58, we tentatively have Hong Kong. Samuel, is that right? Tentatively.
Hi. One of the institutions is interested, and we are
hang
still.
on, Samuel, we can't hear you. Hold on.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Can we just increase the volume?
Hello?
Yeah, okay,
Hello?
now we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. One of the institutions in Hong Kong is considering to host APAN 58, but we are not able to confirm at this stage. So in case any APAN members are interested to host, please feel free.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. APAN 59 will be held in Japan. Do we have a location, Shimazu-san?
Not decided, but maybe.
Okay. Right, so that is in February 2025. APAN 60 tentatively Pakistan. That is in August 2025. Fawad is here.
We are interested in APAN 58, which can be awarded.
Okay. So send in the proposal. We have not received the proposal. Yeah, so you can send in the proposal.
When can someone?
Early September.
So it's a few weeks before Hong Kong will say yes or no. Yeah.
And APAN 61 Bangladesh, Dr. Farooq, February 2026, confirm? Okay. And APAN 62 is still available. We spoke to Amber. So if you're interested, you have about 3 years from now. Yeah. Yeah, but we are still open. So any one of you are interested, you could always submit. You could always submit a proposal. Okay, now next on, just for noting, we had renewed the contract of Marcus as the outgoing APAN General Manager, which was backdated to the 1st of October 2022 till the 1st of October 2023. And then I'm sure many of you were involved with the Let's Catch Up on APAN with us, right? So what we did was we did a one-on-one session virtually with all our members. We conducted it over a period of 3 months from July till August. We spoke to about 21 members, still pending 1 associate member, which I'm going to catch Jonah this week. Okay, so the overall feedback that we received was members were very happy for the catch-up. because it was also done individually. And in fact, thanks to Marcus for initiating this, and also for the community to have given their support. So what we have done is we have summarized most of the recommendations, the feedback. So initially what we did was we spoke to the members to understand how their NREN works, how the stakeholders and the function of NREN in terms of activities, in terms of services, in terms of working groups. That was in terms of NREN. Then we asked them for the APAN perspective, what they would like to improve. What is it that they want to see APAN do more, right? So this is what we did. So 2 slides of this, but we grouped them up into this. Most of them wanted capacity building and learning, where it's a train and learn in the areas predominantly in network security, network deployment, and network operations. So we had members like Indiana, we had members like Australia who are willing to provide such services to countries who wanted them. So we had a lot of requests from around this region, actually. So we will start speaking and matching both parties to see what's the most feasible, whether it's done virtually or whether it's done during one of the APAN meetings. And then in terms of coordination and collaboration role, most of the members wanted APAN to be a more active coordinator role. Okay, so members wanted APAN to demonstrate more successful stories. Like how we have the in the field stories. So for our members to also start projecting that more of in the field stories, successful stories. So we do have a newsletter, but for the newsletter to be a bit more heavy content, right? So for members to actually give on the ground stories and not just network updates and not just activities that you do, but really more successful stories or in the field stories with your research work, right? And then we will figure out what's the best way of putting them together, whether we create a better looking newsletter or whether it comes in a form of a magazine, an e-magazine, right? And then to create more task force. At this moment, we have one, the identity access management, which is doing pretty good. So to foster more task force, okay? And then I have mentioned that. And also APAN partners to contribute more actively. Like at this point of time, we have partners like APNIC, ISOC, and we also plan to start having more talks to APAN partners or to have new APAN partners on board. So we have been talking to a few people. Like we have Nokia here today, and we were talking about creating an MOU or to be even an industry member on APAN so that we could do more regional trainings or to even look at sponsorship for our events. Okay. And then in terms of information and integrity, this is more of a long-term project, right? To be more of a focal point for softwares like plagiarism and then access to research journal, digital libraries, and to create blockchain-based digital certificates. So these are the first 2 can be done on a short-term basis. The third one will take a bit of time and planning. Communications and outreach. We used to have something called APAN proceedings. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. And Dr. Ling and Kasahara are quite tired and they don't want to do that anymore. But what's the good thing is we have got our fellows who have volunteered to put together papers that fellows have presented. Usually that's what the APAN proceedings are. Usually it's the papers that are presented by the students. So instead of it being a very journal looking to be more, we could actually rename or rebrand it to be more industry friendly. For instance, a paper that is presented for any layman to understand, it could be presented not in a journal kind of way, but more of a paper or an introduction or a summary of the research so that anyone who reads will be able to understand. And then also to look at exploration of resources among NREN. I think, Rajan, you did this, right? Sensitizing NREN in last APAN 55. And to also have a targeted call for profiles around the globe. This also comes into one of our services where we are planning to create a compendium. The compendium should not be very heavy, but is more of a kind of a lighter version than the usual compendiums that we are familiar with. So that's that, the targeted collecting profiles of the NRENs, right? And then we also got feedback that APAN needs to play a more active role as a marketing and communication enabler, because the feedback was a lot of NRENs are having issues marketing their NREN. So because they are all usually consisting of technical people. So how do they retain members? How do they have more activities to actually to keep the interest going, right? So I think APAN 57, we will probably have a marketing and communication session, huh, Marcus? Okay, next on will be the operational enhancement and services. So again, this is a long-term project where members wanted APAN to offer services like directories, ORCID identifiers, and then the compendium was one of it. And also to get members who have HPC and cloud capabilities to share resources among the other members. So when we spoke to countries like Singapore, like Australia, they were quite agreeable to that idea, right? So we'll have to see how this can be feasible for all the members. This was particularly a suggestion by Indiana University to create a network operations services model, which they were willing to help and talk to members as well. And then also, as mentioned before, to establish an access management through APAN. Okay, and then next on will be the working groups. What makes APAN powerful is also the working groups here, right? So, but the comments and the feedbacks were that working groups need to be homogeneous. They need to cross-pollinate, and instead of just concentrating in just their working group, but to have a cross among working groups. So our next plan is actually to start talking to the working group heads. And we had a discussion with the fellows yesterday as well that a lot of our working group chairs are very tired. They've been chairs for very, very long, and they need new faces to come on board, right? And some are willing to take up the challenge. We have not, I think, had elections for also so long for the working groups. As far as I remember, they have all been pretty much the same. So next on project will be that to speak to the working group heads to get them to be more active and not just have activities during APAN meetings, but to start having more activities in between. Could be a half-a-day webinar, bring a keynote speaker, subject matter expert, virtual, to have activities like that. Or they could actually have workshops leading on to the main APAN meeting. Okay, and then APAN meetings to be more impactful rather than just having most of them being tech-based. So I think the conference idea was a good start. Or we should have more panel sessions. They want to see more discussions happening among the members, and to have more, because if it's just going to be working group, then it's very targeted. But if it's more of like done during plenaries and all, then there's more crowd, there's more content, there's more discussion that takes place. Okay, and yeah, this is pretty much on the LOC and ERS, where the meetings need to be planned much earlier, especially the agenda. The program scheduled to come in much earlier, but because we only have about 5 to 6 months usually between meetings to actually plan. Like this year was quite a rush. We only had about 4 months to 5 months to plan for the next meeting, right? So we'll make sure that, if at least 1.5 months to 2 months before the actual meeting to put up the program schedule. Okay, so this is pretty much ideas from all our 20 odd members. For those who didn't discuss with me, do you all have any other ideas that we should include on how APAN can be improved? Actually, I forgot to mention, we have Nijat, correct? From Mongolia. Did I get your name right? Okay. And then we got Samchil from Laos. Karma is here from Bhutan. So these are members that can be potentially new members to APAN. So we've got them to come in as well. So we are willing to even hear from you all. So any ideas that you would like APAN to incorporate into its activities? Or if you bounce anything, then just email us. Yes, Basuki.
Yeah. Thank you, Diana. I think one of the things that this is from the operational enhance working group and everything, and one of the thing that I'm thinking about how we manage the data around the data by APAN members, like like in the disaster mitigation working group, they have a lot of data, and then where we can put the data as a data set something, because in the next we will have like a AI system, and then the AI needs the data set, and then we have to manage this data set, not only the computing and something, but the data itself, because the data itself is very valuable. Maybe not now, but maybe in the next, this data is very, very valuable. So if APAN can host it or can think about the how to manage this data, or the how long the retention of this data can keep by APAN members or by APAN.
This is something for the Open Science and Data Working Group.
Yes.
Which Marcus is the co-chair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the maybe if I'm thinking about this, maybe if
but I think the working group is working on something.
Yeah, because because right now there is many data scatter, and then when we have to find some data, it's difficult. Yeah, even in the journal and something, they just mention about the methodology, but where is the data set? It is difficult. And then the other things, like in the AI era, right now there is so many data, and then sometimes I've been working in some separate of AI, and then the separation of this data or data cleansing, data preparation is very, very difficult. Because we have to verify, we have to validate this data. It's yes or no something, and then if we have this not only working group, but with the repository of this data, the data is correct, and with some validation, of course, I think it's make this network, this APAN network will be valuable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Basuke.
If I can just add to that. So just wearing my hat of that working group, one of the things we have set up is data.apan.net. And so that'll become a directory service for discovery, at least. Storing a few petabytes of data might take a little bit more money than we currently have, but we can work on that.
Yes, Karma.
Yeah, I'm Karma from Bhutan. Thank you for inviting me. Leona, just one comment. Maybe APAN could also take into consideration of having a database of all the research projects and also the researchers and RENs involved in the universities involved in driving those research projects, so that it can help, for instance, for Drukran, for the universities, who they can reach out to and collaborate in the research projects. That will really help us also make use of the high-speed network that has been built to interconnect national research and education networks.
It's a good idea. Thank you, Karma. Anyone else? Yeah.
So this is a comment about the fellowship program. So I was wondering if we could have more meaningful and valuable stuff for the fellowship, in the sense that if fellows are selected based on projects that they propose, and they can be matched. So there are many senior people here, so they could become the mentors or experts. Mentor would be like someone who could dedicate an hour of their month to discuss with this person who has a project in mind. The project could be as simple as setting up a website or a database, a small project. And then when they come to the next APAN, they can demonstrate this work. like it is something more valuable that we can take away with us and also contribute to APAN in a way.
So you're saying during the fellowship application for them to submit
A project
any
proposal.
project,
Yeah,
a new
a
project or
proposal.
an existing project that they're working on?
It could be a prototype, it could be a working idea, anything. Like it could be, it should be something that is doable in 3 months. A small idea that they can work upon, and we can match them with the existing senior people in the APAN alumni as mentors or experts. And that way, so this person also gets some training, and in future they could become a mentor or expert to new people.
Right. Thank you, Saranjit.
That actually fits in nicely with Simon C. I don't know if you've met him, but he's here from NVIDIA. He actually made almost exactly the same suggestion, that what we could do is have the fellow program, once fellows are accepted, if they're looking for somebody who might be able to mentor them, that somebody in the APAN community could maybe start talking with them a couple of months before the meeting, and maybe a bit after, and then they get to present during the APAN meeting. So I saw a hand go up. John.
I think along the same lines, I was just discussing with Tati-san about talent development, or rather looking at our next generation, right? So not that we're all old, but I think how can we bring in new blood, and how can we nurture the next generation to be involved? I think one of the challenges is that network engineering probably isn't as attractive as maybe AI, as in other areas. But how do we get these people involved? And so we were just recollecting, how did we first start off coming in because of, like for me, Francis introduced us in and etc. So this, I think, is just to go through and say, how can we bring in new blood? Thanks.
So, which is why later on I will also, when we're covering a bit of the budget, we have officially formed APAN Fellowship Alumni. So we're trying to, we just found out Fawad was an ex-fellow. So we could actually bring in those older ones if we can dig their database. And also because we have now records of the last APAN 55, APAN 56. So we have been bouncing ideas with them on what they can do for APAN, just small things, updating websites, social media, because our social media also needs work, right? So all these small ideas, but to also grow them towards to be part of the working group and to bring in the next generation. So yeah. Anyone else? That's Thomas.
Hello, so I'm Thomas. I'm from Nokia. It's my first APAN meeting, so thanks for inviting. Very, very interesting. Maybe an observation and an idea to share, because I also attended the similar meetings in the other regions, like for example US and Europe, where we have also quite a footprint. And I saw some patterns or some similarities there as well. Like, for example, discussing the emerging NRAN or the emerging RAN topic, where they struggles with government funding and stuff like that. This is the same like in Africa, for example, right? Or also in some Latin American countries, right? Funding comes sometimes from the EU. So maybe it's also an idea to kind of bring people from those regions or from those RANs into the discussion, right? Because they can maybe share some experiences, and I think that is what the community can nicely benefit from.
Right. Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else?
You have a few Europeans and Americans join us.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Okay. So now that we have put this forward to the council, we will work on the short terms and then plan for the long terms, because some of them will definitely need time. So we'll need the resources, we will need all the help we can as well, right? Okay, so moving on the agenda will be the setting of membership fees structure for 2025 till 2027. I hope you all still remember when we had the Let's Catch Up on APAN, I did indicate that we are looking at a bit of rise in the membership fee. I think the last that was we raised the membership fee was in 2019. And at that time, the discussion was that we increase the membership fee every 3 years, but we didn't at that time. So we are looking at 2025 now. This was the budget in 2020, the one on the extreme left. that Marcus tabled during one of the council meeting, and that came to about 130,000. After that, we increased the membership fees. So 2020, so we have been receiving 130,750 from our members. Now 2023, you will see a bit on the higher side because we also started traveling this year, and we have got Marcus's operational cost as well. So that's the income that you see. Software and subscriptions are basically what we paid for Zoom, for Hoover that we'll be using for the event platform, and all the softwares that APAN uses for its operations. Okay, and then operational support will be the salary for Marcus, myself, Sean, and we have Yoshini as well, who replaced me. So she's part of the APAN SAC. So that is for the 4 of us. And then we have the financial administration, which looks into bookkeeping and auditing services. IT expenses includes hosting our servers, our mail server, our web server, and which includes the maintenance. Marketing and communications was budgeted in 2020. For 2023, we didn't, but we are budgeting it for 2024, which will be used for like newsletters, social media. At this point of time, goodwill of Prof. Wang and his team, newsletters, we collect the content, Prof. Wang's team does it on a voluntary basis. So we would like to put in a bit more to perhaps make it look a bit more magazine-like, or a bit more good, like the book that Learn did. Nexus, was it? Yeah, so that's quite a good heavy content. And to also look into our social media, right? Whether if it's also even to put in some of our good articles as a paying article. And this will also cover part of the compendium that we plan to. Okay, and then community engagement and capacity building. This year we sent, we had a bit of a cost in it. We sent Virachai, our Open Science and Data Working Group, to Singapore to speak on APAN for one of our MOU partners, Wireless World Research Forum. So for him to speak there. So this is the community engagement that we do. And taking on John's idea on capacity building. So here is also what we want to do will be to perhaps see how we could subsidize perhaps into trainings, or to bring in a trainer, something like that. So that's for 2024 again. Proceedings and journals, budgeted 2020. We didn't use anything, but it's also to create the magazine-like for all our APAN presentations, right? It will be an e-magazine. We don't want to print anything, so it'll all be e, but we'll probably need a bit of, we don't want to look so much into journals because it requires a lot of work. They've put their journals, but journals, usually it's a lot of work. Which is why we also want to rebrand it to be more of a magazine or industry friendly. And it's something also where we could distribute it to sponsors to say that we have this kind of working groups, this kind of content that works on it, right? And then we, of course, have the fellowship program. We are still keeping it at 30,000. APAN 55, we sponsored about 20 odd fellows. We covered their accommodation, the registration fee, their per diem allowance. Only flight, it's on their own cost. This APAN 56, we had about 24, and then about 5 withdrew. So we had 19, right? But in terms of applications, it was pretty good. Nepal, we had about 70 odd applications came in. So it was really, really tough because our budget is tight. So we would actually love to give more, but due to our budget, that's our constraint. This time around, we had about 50 over applications, right? Okay, so that is 2024. We are maintaining the cost till about 135. For 2025, there's a bit of increase. And the increase is about 15%, because with the global inflation at this point of time, it's about 7% now for this year. And then expected about 5 to 6% 2024. So we are estimating a 15% increase for 2025, 26, 27. We have not done the detailed increase, but this is the estimate based on the budget. And this is also excluding new members, right? So we are looking at 150,400. And in terms of expenses, if we keep to this, then it's 145,000. So this is what we have projected for now. Do you have any questions, comments? Yes, Dr. Farooq.
The budget and actually recover. If we can you give me the variance analysis of the budget to 2023 or 2020?
We do have a bit of reserves because during the pandemic, none of us traveled. So there is a bit of reserves from these years. So we are able to cover the surplus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if we keep using that, then we'll run in negative if we don't increase. Correct, yes.
So roughly, I think from the AFS, there's about 400 and
400-ish.
Yeah. And keeping in mind too, members often forget, and working group chairs forget, we have the APAN grant program, of which we set aside 10% of our reserve for grants for working groups, other activities and so on. So just a reminder, that's on the table.
Yeah. Learn used the APAN grant to develop the book, to produce the Nexus book. So does that mean we can increase the membership fee?
I think you need to present the individual impacts for each member.
Yeah, so that this is what's being budgeted, and the increase that we are projecting. Marcus has done a very nice model to increase the membership fee. So we will work on that, and we will most likely call for an AGM perhaps end of the year. We do have a budget and fee subcommittee that some of you sit on. So this will be the increase of membership will be tabled there. Jared and Goto Sensei also sits on that. So once we get an approval to table it to the council members, most likely an AGM, we'll call an AGM so we can give you ample of time. At least you have a year to reflect 2025's new membership fee.
So just a reminder for newer members or newer representative members, one of the things we agreed in 2018, I guess effectively, was that members would get at least 12 months notice of any changes so that you can work through your internal processes with ministries or departments, whatever. And the other is that the membership fees are constant for 3 years, so that if there's further increases, we may end up getting into our reserves again. So it's one jump, but for 3 years.
Is there any comments from those online? Goto Sensei is on. Yes, Goto Sensei.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I agree with Marcus because each member has their own mother or her father organization or institute or a governmental body or non-profit body, etc. So perhaps the general manager Rainer should talk to one by one to confirm when is their fiscal years, and also how many months they need to have a formal notice in advance, etc. So the general principle or the guideline would be approved at the subcommittee and later on the EGM, as Rana mentioned. However, the real implementation take some time. That was the Marcus experienced so much, I think. He spent quite a lot of time and energy to negotiate with each member. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Goto Sensei. I will speak to each of them individually.
Yeah, finally, we need that. Thank you.
And we also have the flexibility of if you can't take the jump in 2025, but as long as at the end of 2027, you have fulfilled the increase. So we are quite flexible in that. Some of our members also, we partially invoice them over the year. So we are quite flexible in that sense. Okay, so moving on. John. Oh, yes, John.
Just curious. So I guess in 2019 there was a lower number and jumped to 2020. Could I just understand what was that figure?
So 2019, the discussion started in about 2015. So it did take a while. We basically hadn't changed our membership fees since 2004. All right. So we basically had just gotten flat over many years. And of course, that was a problem. And so we ended up with about a 50% increase. And in the case, I think of at least one or two economies, it was a bit more than that, and a few was a bit less. But on average, it was about 50%. So we went from about 90 to 130. Yeah. So we're trying to do this a bit more gently and a bit more frequently and keep things up to date.
Can I move on to the next agenda? Okay. So next one is work plans for 2024, right? As mentioned, we formed the APAN Fellow Alumni. Very good ideas we had yesterday. So we will put them up and see again what's short-term, what's long-term, but most of the ideas are pretty short-term, so we can implement them. And we have extra resources now in hand because they're very voluntarily given their time and the resources to us. To also concrete up, to make it, or to firm up plans and activities with our APAN partners. We have MOU partners that have their agreement, their MOU term has ended. I think the only active one is WWRF and NICT. So we will look into the MOUs that we have and re-establish, see how they can help us to be more active, right? Especially in terms of capacity building, right? So that's MOUs, and then working groups as well to be more active in community engagements and to have more activities in between. In terms of APAN communications, the only thing that we have now is newsletters, but we also want to start publishing more in the field stories. So most of our members, actually all our members are actually here. So if you can go back and try to help us get these successful stories, right? That we can feature in our website, send out to our mailing list. We could just have a one-page feature for every month also would be good, right? We have got 22 of you. So if we can even get 2 stories a month, it's very good, right? So go back and then, because our content comes from y'all. If you don't give us content, then it's very tough for us. This can be plans, but I'm sure your countries are all doing really wonderful job in terms of research in the field stories. So content-wise, we need more. Even the working groups, the presentations all have been amazing. So I'm sure there's a lot of activities that are going on, even fellows for that matter. They're all doing a lot of research, a lot of presentations. So if we can get this kind of projects, one pager would be great. Yes, Marcus.
Just to highlight within the field stories, you do not need to write the stories, okay? You just need to tell the APAN SEC that there's a story that exists, and one of us, maybe me or somebody in the field team, will actually do the interview and write the story. So it's not a lot of work for any of the members or partners here, but if you can just point us to those stories, then we will follow up and do all the work.
Yes, Rajan?
Yeah, I think thanks for the plans, but yeah, it would have been better if we have these plans with a timeline, so when they will begin, right? So I think that will be the more meaningful and concrete, I think.
Regarding communications, magazine is mentioned, but can we at least once a year do something like what we did this time?
if you want, I can take the voluntary lead. Even this time we helped we got funding for writing, printing, all sort of things, but we put our people to coordinate, come up with. In fact, like when we looked at the type of stories we can have so many. We just picked a very few. We have 8 stories in that book and a couple of other items. So it's just 10 stories. That's what we have. But what we realized is we have like 100 stories. So just a matter of, and also we did this just 3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks. So if we have more time, we can keep bringing more stories. That's one. The other one in the field stories, yeah. So there are plenty. Like for instance, now for Learn, I'm making one a month, right? So that's my target. We are putting them in a local, not local, regional website where they put technology-related stories, and it's written by professionals. So every month we put one out. That's my target.
Are you putting those in the field side as well?
Some of them we also forward it to them, but some others we are not forwarding. But yeah.
I like that he said on record that he's happy to volunteer. Yeah, we're recording this.
No, we had to decide. I also putting it on the web. It to some extent achieve the requirement, but when I feel like having a book is really nice, it's a big difference. We still it has a human touch, and you feel it. Yeah.
Actually, I just like to compliment Roshan for that piece of work. I think a lot of times we come in and then we hear a term, right? I mean, okay, we all know Asia Connect, but a newcomer who comes in will say, hey, what is that all about? And these are major projects which actually APAN has done. And it's very nice to see it covered in different pages, and one glance through and read through, what has happened in the APAN. So I thought put it on the web serves, but you put it all together into a booklet and with pictures, I think it serves a different feel.
Yeah, I'm also following that, and that kind of brochure is very convenient for us to put it to the boss. Yes. We don't like the reports, so it's very good. So maybe once a year, and after the conference, if you can sum up what happens, it's very good.
Thank you, Shimada-san. So touching on that point, I will need all members to send us updated context for your tech person, for your program person, and a focal point that we can go to. Some of your, we have been getting updates to update our website with the contact. Sometimes it's just a general email. So I'm not sure who we are actually sending it to. No doubt I have all the council members here, but sometimes on a working level that if we want something quick, would be great. Another thing is, also I have some of your numbers. So if you could just come give me or Sean your numbers. I will not haunt you with things, but sometimes I will need your attention on something, or maybe let's say someone is looking for a contact in your economy and we will need something quick. It'll be good to also contact. So we're available on WhatsApp and now Line as well. So, right. Okay, so moving on to this will be APAN to have more frequent engagements with the members. So this is a personal request to not just have it as a one-time, but to have more frequent engagements. And then to also plan and create the APAN compendium, right? So we do have some ideas. So Marcus and the APAN SAC and us will just work to see how best we can create an APAN compendium. Yes, Roshan.
About compendium, in the emerging entrance session, actually Taurit was
correct.
Volunteering to do it. So VDRN, maybe we can ask them to help and get it going. Yeah.
Right. And then some of the, sorry, yes, what?
Can we start with the collaboration of local NREN, local APAN chapters with the collaboration of the NREN, so that the local chapter of APAN present in each country and organizes events and activities of APAN in each economy or country with the collaboration of each NREN. To start a local chapter, which have some obviously fellows and members on it. And apart from these two conferences, and meetings. It also arranges some local activities so that more activities of APAN highlighted on each economy where the members cannot have a chance to participate on these events, but the local chapters maybe by the time they may be strengthened and fortified to have more activities of APAN in local economy.
Right. It's a good idea. Thank you for it.
Yeah.
And to also plan and speak to members on the services that we suggested earlier, to see which member and which partner could actually help us with that as well. We have Dr. Franz online as well now, from Philippines, Dr. Franz. For those online, do you have any idea, do you have any comments on the work plans for 2024? These are all based on your own feedback, right? So this is what we can do like almost immediately. So is there any other comments for those online? Dr. Franz, Wakas, Samuel, Dr. Swami, Sanjeev, Bowang.
Not at this point of time, but let me just understand the processes, then certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev.
Hello.
Yes, Wakas.
Yeah, just a small thought when you were discussing the stories thing. So whoever like Roshan is volunteering this thing. So I believe we need to cover more entrants when we are going to these stories. I mean, if someone can volunteer or maybe talk to other entrants and ask them what are their stories. Some entrants are weaker in telling their stories or maybe publishing these things, but once someone talks to them, they will tell, hey, we have done some good work, and that is it. Then you will be able to report them in APAN and in the field stories as well.
Okay, thank you, Wakas. Any other comments? Yes, Roshan.
Maybe we'll talk more about this item in the program committee, but APAN conference idea that we started, are we interested in continuing? I think we should continue at least once a year. I thought coinciding with the AGM, so this second meeting in the year, we can continue a conference. But maybe we'll discuss more in the program committee, but we had to decide it here and then take it forward. For now, I'm happy to work with the next August 2024 local organizers on getting it done. But I can't do it alone. So we had the community to support, and we can make it much larger because we have 1 year. So last time we did like in 3-4 months, which is like impossible, but we did, we have more time. So yeah.
Applause to Roshan's hard work on that. One of the things we've talked about before, in fact, we were talking about this just before the pandemic, is when we talk about a conference, depending on who I'm talking to in the room, there's an academic version of a conference and there's the technical version of a conference. And some of the members in the past have asked me about how do we turn an APAN meeting into more like a TNC or an Internet 2 type conference, which is more a technical conference. But there's a lot of interest in our community because we have application working groups to have a more academic conference as well. So how those two sit alongside each other, or one of each, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have enough time to do both, but it's possible to do both under the same umbrella. Yeah. We usually, even usually an academic conference, we also have things like workshops, technical workshops, various other parts where we have lesser type of publications which are not done. So, like when you want to publish them on a high impact journal or a publisher, they ask for this academic type of activities. However, at the same time, such conferences have technical aspect of conference. So both can be done. Yeah. So yeah, maybe even the next one we can try both. Yes.
Okay. Yes, Rajan.
Just the concerns, right? So it's experiences during the preparations of APAN 55. So I think because we have a lot of programs, it's already 56 events. So do we have some kind of documentations online? Because I think still some of the sites are not accessible, right? The right?
When we migrated the website, some of the content of the previous links were not valid anymore.
All right.
So
is there any way we can contact with the local organizers at the time and get those details? Because it's valuable for the APAN's history as well, right? So yeah, if possible, so let's push them.
Sure.
If not, then that's fine.
Of course, we also have now the APAN YouTube channel.
APAN YouTube is quite updated now, thanks to the LOCs. So they edit and they upload it onto YouTube. Yeah, we've got that active for now, 3 or 4 APAN already. Anyone else?
Something in the chat.
Can you check what's on the chat?
Please share a copy of the presentation.
Sure. Yeah, okay, sure. We'll send it to the council. Yeah. Okay. Looks like we concluded. Any other business? No? All good? Thank you for being kind. All right, thank you for those online. Bowang, Suhaimi, and Sanjeev, please stay back. We will have a short board meeting with the new board of directors. Thank you, Junhao, Wakars, Goto Sensei, Dr. Franz, and Samuel. And thank you all. Thank you so much. Catch up with you over the week. Thank you.